Welcome to the Hill Country Nation Sports Wrap-Up Show here for a Monday edition of Nation Sports Wrap-Up Show, broadcasting from Studio B. Trey, I've been listening, and it sounds okay, but I do understand what you mean by muffled every once in a while, so I've got to figure out how you guys do it so I can do it too.
Get a Yeti mic.
A Yeti mic?
Yeti mic.
Sponsored by Yeti Mics, and we would love to have some merch. That would be awesome.
$99, you can have it.
Okay, awesome, man. Hey, I tell you what, man, Coach, week 5, and Coach Keller back in the helm at Jam Broadcasting. Appreciate him. It's so good to see him back. He actually got to call a great game against Liberty Hill, and Tybee overcoming that and winning. And then just a lot of other great games this past week as well.
Dude, we're starting to see I mean, it's always been, but now you're starting to see like teams separate themselves, what they're going to look like in district. Some teams have already started district play, like this team right here that we're fixing to talk to. But man, we saw a great 6-man action game the other night, Friday night against Frederick Heritage. My first ever game I called full by myself, doing color comment. It was hard. It was hard. I don't know all the rules, which I need to learn because I thought I knew everything, but apparently I don't. But man, it's fall in the air. We got cooler weather today. District starting. We're already week 5 of the high school football. Man, it just feels like it blinks and it's almost over with already.
Yeah, when July 4th hits, all of a sudden, boom, we're looking forward to around the corner kind of thing, like some people do at Christmas after Thanksgiving. But now all of a sudden we're almost halfway through it. So, yeah.
Man. Okay, quick shout out. My wife bought these freaking drinks called Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar Strawberry and Cream.
Oh, I heard about those. Are those good?
She loves them. I'm like, but I'm not going to whine and complain about it because she bought them, so it's free for me. So whatever.
There you go.
I'm learning.
There you go. Good man. There you go. All right, well, let's waste no time here as this guy right here, Coach Jaime Dixon of the Blanco Panthers, going into yet another year. And, man, I tell you, has really turned this program around for just craziness and winning. And, oh, yeah, we're built Blanco tough. Let's bring him on right now, Coach Jaime Dixon of the Blanco Panthers. Welcome to the show, Coach.
I appreciate you guys having me.
Coach, what a year. I mean, last year, kind of getting your feet going with these boys and everything. You've turned some things around. What is different about this year's team compared to last year's team?
This year it's just, the guys are familiar with the things that I've done and, this coaching staff's done at different places and stuff. And, I mean, it was a complete not a bad overhaul. It was just a complete change. They used to have athletics last period of the day and just kind of started practice and that stuff. And we went to an athletic period in the middle of the day. And really during the athletic period, all we do is lift weights. We work on getting better as, stronger and all of that. And during the season, we'll take a couple of days to work on special teams. And that's all we use the athletic period for. We don't go out and practice, football, offense, and defense. We will either work on strength or special teams. And then we do our complete practice after school. And that was a big change for them. And now, the guys are used to it. They're used to the offensive system, and stuff like that and things. So, I mean, that's what's been helpful.
Yeah, Coach, you talk about players who are helpful and everything like that. Talk about your quarterback, Anderson, who's a legitimate great returner from last year, over 1,000 yards passing, a lot of TDs. Just talk about his leadership on this program and the offense that you have in store for him this year.
Cam's a great ball player. He's very athletic, and things, and which helps. I mean, it's no secret. I mean, with the offense that I've ran and at the previous places, our offense goes through our quarterback, and we prefer to have a running quarterback and those types of things. And he does a lot of great things with his legs, which opens up, some stuff. And and things, and he does a good job of leading our offense.
Coach, you've had a pretty good schedule so far. One little hiccup, but then again, like we were talking a little bit earlier, Atonement just seems to give even 5 and 6A schools trouble, and you played them pretty tough. But what does it mean to have a pre-district schedule like you've had, beating Post, who you know Post? I mean, those guys go deep in the playoffs every year. You got them guys this year. Bernie Geneva, which gives a lot of people headaches as well. How is that pre-district schedule compared to the schools that you guys are going to be playing this year?
I mean, it's going to help you. I mean, playing both is a good thing. I mean, I would rather play tough teams and get challenged early, because you're going to get challenged in district, and you're definitely going to get challenged to come to playoff. And I don't want our biggest game of the year to be second or third round of the playoffs. I mean, Poth was a big time game, and I liked that we went back on the road and played Poth there. We were redoing our field here, and some people asked me, are you upset that you're losing a home game? Personally, as a coach, I wasn't, because all our playoff games are on the road, and you need to win. You need to learn to win those big games on the road. And that was a tough game. We were down, and we didn't take that lead until a minute to go in that game, and I mean, you couldn't ask for a better playoff atmosphere. I mean, Poth is a well-coached team. Coach Luna does a good job. Their kids are going to play 48 minutes. And that was a great big game for both of us. And, they've done a great job. They've won every game since then over there at Poth, and, they're going to make a long run. And there's a good chance we may be in a district together next year.
Oh, yeah, with that district change-up.
Yeah.
I mean, Coach, you talk about the Poth game and how it's going to get you ready for playoffs. You don't want that big game to be the second round of the playoffs, which I understand. But I'm looking at your district here in 13-3A Division I. I mean, you're going to have big games almost every week. Every team has improved. Like you have Lando, who's always a top-notch team. Marion, you have Ingram, who's undefeated and doing great strides. Just talk about your district this year and how that will get you ready for play if you're so happen to get in the playoffs.
I mean, when you go from Poth, like Poth that was a big physical game. And then you go to play Antonian, whose receivers were some of the best receivers we had played against, and very athletic, and their offensive line was huge. It gets you ready for those teams. I mean, I talked about Antonian looked like Lano, the size of Lano, the receivers, and it looks like Edna if we get, if we have a rematch with Edna in the playoffs. And it helps us get, we're about to face the fastest team. You line up those skill guys from Randolph. I mean, all four of them are probably going to be at the state track meet in May. Yeah. I mean, we're about to probably face one of the fastest teams there are, and we've got to do things and handle their skill guys and that's what that non-district schedule's for. I don't want to play weak teams and pad my schedule and that I don't want to be 5-0 and then be 0-5 in district. Right. I'd rather, if worst case scenario, I'd rather be 0-5 and then 5-0 on the other side.
Right.
And I don't, and everywhere we've been and every staff I've been a part of, our non-district has been a brutal non-district, and I think it just prepares you. The downside is you better stay healthy through it. So that's the right. It's it's a balance thing. You got to play tough, but you also got to stay healthy.
Speaking of scheduling, I know with next year there's going to be, realignments and things, and now you get an opportunity, to kind of ask other teams to play you for non-district before non-district in the beginning. So can we try to look forward to maybe like a Blanco Bandera and maybe a Blanco Fredericksburg game?
I've talked to some schools, and I have. And I appreciate the private schools, but I'm a huge public school fan, and it helps us with the sub-varsities and stuff, because at private schools, those kids are allowed to play 6 quarters a week. So you play a lot of guys on varsity on the JV and that type of thing. So I'm trying to get the private schools off of my schedule and fill them with other schools. And, we've made some phone calls, and then you just got to see the matchup you get. I mean, I've reached out to a couple of them to see if they would play and things like that. And we're working on our schedule as well.
We can work on our end too a little bit if need be. No worries.
Yes, sir.
Oh,
Yeah, you know what, Trey? I'm always hey, whatever it takes, man. Some of these old rivalry games from way back in the day, man, it's like, come on, bring some of those back, you know?
I mean, I'll tell you this. I mean, our in Blanco County wants Johnson City and Blanco play together. And Coach Cordis over at Johnson City and I have a good relationship. We get along with each other. We like each other. I mean, Johnson City did us a big favor last year during Thanksgiving. It rained all week, and so we actually went to Johnson City and practiced every day during Thanksgiving break.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, we're not going to play each other, but we're going to scrimmage each other. That's going to be the first scrimmage of the year next year.
That'd be great.
Is Johnson City and Blanco. We're going to scrimmage each other next year.
Nice.
Yeah.
That would be the Hill Country Nation game of the week.
Yeah, no, that's coming back. It's not a game, but we are going to scrimmage. I mean, our two towns want us, and it's good for us.
Yeah.
Coach, you already have one district game. I mean, you won last week in your first district game. Just talk about how you've seen your players improve from the pre-district schedule to the first district schedule, and what do you want to see more improved through as a district schedule keeps going along?
You just want to get better every day, every rep, every week. You never want to take a step back. And our kids have been doing that. I mean, every week we add a little wrinkle to our offense or to our defense, and we'll, a few things. And that's, and that's also being the kids familiar with us as a coaching staff and us familiar with our kids. And that things helps you, year 2, year 3 down the road. And those things. But I mean, our biggest thing right now is we got to get healthy. I think we probably had about 5 or 6 kids in street clothes Friday night. We got to get healthy because we're about to hit a rough part of our schedule with our district play and stuff. I mean, because Luling was good. Luling skill kids are very good. They got a couple of big kids, and they were a playoff team last year. But I mean, you tote that thin line in practice on how physical you are in practice, because you got to get healthy as well.
How big have your coaches been? I mean, you guys are, like brotherhood. You have to rely on each other. You talk to each other. You may get upset with each other, but then you're hugging on each other. Give your coaches a shout out, and just what they mean to you and what they're doing for your team this year.
I got a great coaching staff. We get along real well. We do get upset with each other. Or ideas or thoughts or things like that. But at the end of the day, when we walk out of our office, it's a group effort. Our offensive staff, our offensive line is playing outstanding this year. Coach Blendon does a good job with them. And, I coach the running back, so to say, and I'm down there with him with the offensive line because our running backs are with them a lot and they do a good job. Coach Rayleigh and the rest of our offensive staff, Coach Carr and Coach Seals, they do a good job. And then our defensive staff, they do it. I mean, we only returned 3 starters off of last year's defense.
Wow.
So it was a complete rebuild of our defense.
Mm-hmm.
And Coach Brown and those guys, they do a great job. And, and every week we're getting better at it and those things. And what's been tough, though, is most of our injuries have been on the defensive side right now. And we're just going, And the good thing is our kids are stepping up. It's been a next man up mentality, and let's go.
Well, Coach, you just answered my question because I was going to ask you, what is the most confident position or skill set that you don't have to worry about week in and week out within games? What is lineman, offensive lineman? I guess you're really impressed with your offensive lineman.
I'm impressed with both sides of our big boys. I mean, I really am. You go back and you watch that post game, our offensive line they took over that game in the second half. They really did. We lined up, I still have a slot T package of some stuff and it's a little bit of what Blanco ran in the past. I just tweaked a few things that you do in the slot, and we jumped into that in the third and fourth quarter against them, and we pounded the ball. And we got a big running back, Carson Smith, and him behind that big offensive line and our tight ends. I mean, right now, if our offensive line continues to play the way they are, and we stay healthy in our skilled positions on offense, we're going to score points. You know, we will. I'm confident in that. We just got to get healthy on defense, you know, and those things.
Coach, brand new field. Everybody seems to be like super stoked about it. How's that new field treating you right now?
I like it. I mean, you know, with the droughts here, I mean, I was talking to someone, I think I was talking to my old superintendent that hired me at Industrial. He called me yesterday, and he was asking me about the field and stuff, because it's the same field that we put in down there. And I said the biggest thing has been the water that's helped. I mean, I was telling him, you drive up 281 to San Antonio and you pass the Guadalupe River, there is no river. There's no water.
Mm-hmm.
I said, you come here to Blanco, there's water at our state park, but you go a half a mile each side of the state park, there's no Blanco River. There's Blanco rocks. And I said, that's been the biggest thing is, you know, we were still watering our practice field because we own the well, but we couldn't keep up with it. I mean, I got pictures of cracks all in our practice field. And that's the biggest thing with the turf is the water. I mean, water is always going to be an issue up here. But with what we do offensively, everything is landmarked. Like when receivers run routes, I mean, you'll hear us talk all the time. Get to the numbers, get to the seam. And on a practice field that you got to paint all the time, they don't see those landmarks.
Yeah.
And now you can't miss the landmarks. You can't miss the seams, the numbers.
Yeah.
And I think that's really helped us the last couple of weeks offensively click a lot better, especially in our passing game, because you see the landmarks.
Yeah.
I mean, and the first day that we had the turf field, we had junior high practice at 7:00 in the morning on it. We were on it in the afternoon. Right after we were on it, the band was on it at 6:30. We had 3 groups practice on it Monday. On Tuesday, the band didn't practice on it, but the cheerleaders did.
Yeah.
You know, after us. And that's what, you know, that's what that field does. Because it becomes a multi-purpose facility and everybody uses it.
Nice.
So what I'm guessing is you're more of a turf guy than grass guy. I mean, you feel like there's another, like people get more in, or players get injured more on turf, or do you feel like, or that's just a copycat or a cop?
No, that's it's not that I'm a turf guy. I'm a turf guy at the high school level because we don't have the grounds crew that Alabama or, you know, these major colleges do that practice on grass. I mean, if we had and we have a great grass guy, our guy that does it, he does a good job, but it's just one individual. And like I said, if the people knew how much we watered our practice field, even though we could, because we own the well, they would be shocked, and we couldn't keep up with it.
Yeah.
But if we had our own grass company or our own 6-7 man crew, you know, and you can make that field. I mean, it's not that I'm a turf guy or grass field, but at the high school level, I think you're crazy if you don't have turf, because I think at the end of the day, at the high school level, a turf field is as safe or not safer than a grass field that one man keeps up. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
And those types of things. And I think a lot of it right now in the NFL that you'll see, I think there's a certain type of turf that people don't want on their fields. And I'm not going to get into all of that, but I'll tell you that I don't have it on our field.
Yeah.
You know, and I feel confident in the company that did our field and things like that. And, you know, I don't think Jerry Jones would purposely hurt his players at Cowboy Stadium, and we got the same turf that they have.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and nowadays with technology, I think turf is getting a lot safer, and I think the product that we have and the cooling, and we went with a different type of pellets. We don't have the black rubber. We went with the Ecotherm. I think that has helped out a lot with the heat.
Yeah.
And those types of things. But, you know.
That's awesome. Coach, okay, so Blanco athletics is known for supporting a whole lot more than just football. I mean, we have been to basketball games where we've covered Blanco as a game of the week there, where there's just tons of student athletes there. Even some being in the band, one act play, ball, things like that, soccer. What does that mean to you and for the community to see all these student athletes band together and go to a cross country meet to support those guys or volleyball games and vice versa, just all over?
I like it. I mean, I really do. I mean, I'm a big person, and I've said it since I've been here. I want multi-sport athletes. I want our kids playing everything, because I think those kids know how to compete than kids who only play one sport and only compete 3 or 4 months out of the year. Mm-hmm. And I like that our kids go, and things like that. And I think that says a lot about a one school town, mm-hmm. And, a couple of years ago, I had a bigger school district called me and asked me if I'd come talk to them and stuff like that. And it was a multi-school district that had multiple schools, big schools. And that just didn't appeal to me, because there's a lot more things to do in the city than go watch football, but there's not a lot of things in Blanco to do on a Friday night. Mm-hmm. And this town wants us to win, expects us to win, and they want us to win no matter what we play, whether it's a football game or checkers. Mm-hmm. And they're going to be here to support us, and that I think it means a lot, and I think it means more to the kids when that happens. Mm-hmm.
All right, Coach. I've been to Blanco once in my life. I can't wait to go back. Once. That's all I've been. What? I know. I know. I don't know why. I've only lived in Kerrville for 13 years. I don't know why I've only been to Blanco once. I go to Austin. I was like, nah, man. I'll go the other way. Whatever the case may be.
We're going to change that.
Yeah, we are. Where do I need to stop and eat at in Blanco?
Man, y'all asked me this last year.
When's it even changed?
It hasn't changed, guys. You don't get my size eating pretty. I'm a meat guy. I love barbecue. So I go to Old 300. I've been asking Old 300 to let me make my own sandwich and name it. And I'm working on a deal with them. I told them they already give me an NIL deal as much barbecue as I eat from there. My checkbook doesn't like it, but my stomach does.
Yeah.
But I like Old 300. No, there's some good food here. I know a lot of people eat at Red Bud on the square, like sandwiches and stuff. I don't eat a lot of sandwiches, man. I do. If I got to go somewhere, I'm probably going to Old 300. But I'm a barbecue guy.
So are we safe to say that on Friday and it's game day and you got to have that go-to, whether it's like, energy drink, sports drink, whatever, soda, but Old 300 might be the one that you go to every Friday before game day?
Yep, I would say Old 300 would be it. One of these days I may have my sandwich up on that wall.
There you go. Nice. All right, I've got to do it, Trey, because if I don't do it now, then but let me get this off real quick. If I don't do it, then I get in trouble, and I don't want to get in trouble. So here we go, just real quick. At this episode of the Hill Country Nation Sports Wrap-Up Show, brought to you by our very own Jam Broadcasting. Hey, you like rock and roll music, and I'm talking the good classic to the up-to-date rock and roll? KRVL 94.3 is the way to go. How about some Texas Red Dirt with just a little bit of twist of Nashville? Then check out 99.1 The Buck. And if you want everything from anything from old days to old, I'm talking pop rock to rap music, country music, and a little bit of splash of who knows what, then Mike FM on 103.7, 107.7 is the way to go. JamBroadcasting.com if you can't pick up any of those radio stations over the air. And don't forget to download the Jam Broadcasting app. And it's the home of the Hill Country Nation Sports Wrap-Up and Hill Country Nation Game of the Week. All right, Coach, man, it comes down to it. We talked about your sandwiches and things like that and everything, Coach. But what is it? family life, it gets down kind of crazy, it becomes where as soon as football hits, you've got to do what you got to do. But your family, your wife, they've been so supportive, and your kids. I mean, just talk about them and just like what they do while you're gone.
She's awesome. That's all I can say. My wife is awesome. I don't know how long we've been together, and she won't get mad at that. It's been a long time. I think we dated for 7 to 8 years before we got married, and I don't even know how long we've been married. I don't know. It's been long, but she's awesome. I'll call her on the weekends, and she'll come up and help me with the game laundry, get stuff out of pants and stuff like that. I'm about to take her 8 pair of pants home right now from Friday night that she'll help me get stains out because the guys wear so much eye black and stuff. And
yeah,
she's awesome. My 2 kids understand, I hope they understand. My son's a senior. That boy's been on the bus with me since a long time. It's going to be a little rough after that last game this year. And, because I've had that boy on the bus with me for so long. My daughter's in 8th grade. She probably knows the offensive playbook as much as these boys do. She's been at track practices. My 2 kids, they're awesome. They're always up here, and if you're going to be successful in here and have a happy family, you better have a good wife and understands. And she does a good job. And all of our coaches, families do. I mean, we get together after home games, we go to a coach's house and, a different coach's house. We're there. We talk about the game. The wives have made some food and stuff and probably stay at each other's house too late after Friday night to get up Saturday morning. But, our coaches, we all get along and the families are all there. And that's what it takes in this business because, I mean, I'm still up at the office at 7:30 talking to y'all, and I probably got dinner at home ready, stuck in a microwave or something. And, and she'll be as happy as it goes when it gets home, but that's what it takes.
All right, I'm going to get mad at Carrie Hartman because this is the question I always ask, but I'm going to elaborate on it. She wants to know who were some of your mentors early in your career, but I'm going to elaborate. Who was the most influential person in your life growing up that made you want to be a coach, or who did you look up to make you the man who you are today?
I had good coaches in high school and things like that, but probably the person I looked up to more than most is my parents, and like my dad, and I get to work every day. I'm here by 6 o'clock in the morning, and people ask me all the time why I'm here so early. And it's because of what my dad did. My dad did the same thing. And I always ask my dad, said, why do you get to work so early? And his was, if I had a flat tire, and I changed it, I was still at work on time. And as I got older, my dad was a supervisor where he worked and he was the boss. And his deal was he got there, he opened up everything and he waited in case there was an issue. And that's kind of my thing. I get here, I do some things in the morning, occupy my time while I'm here. But I never know if a kid's going to show up early and need something, so I'm here. I actually have a couple of sports practicing. I think we got girls volleyball going in the morning. I got cross country going in the morning. And what if something happens and they need something? I'm here. And so I think my parents and my dad, the way they raised me is the reason I work the schedule I do. And if you can't look up to your parents, who do you look up to? And those types of things. Coaching wise, I've only worked for 4 ADs, and I learned something from all of them. The first one I worked for, Coach Autry, he hired me at 2 different places. I worked for Coach Salmon, and he was a great man. I worked for Coach Hesseltine. He hired me 2 different times. And Coach Jones, I worked for at 2 different places. And they were all great. But Coach Jones, he was probably the best athletic director that I worked for.
That's Coach Jones of Kerrville Tigers?
No, Coach Jones, he's retired. He was at Giddings and Lamar.
Okay.
Where I worked for him. His name was Chris Jones. And he's probably the best AD that I worked for because you get a lot of times ADs, and especially girls' parents, will say they only care about football and stuff like that. And you couldn't say it about Coach Jones. That man was at everything.
Yeah.
Every sport, every activity, and he showed us what it, and there's a lot of guys off of his staff that are ADs now. You look at the guy at Hutto, Coach Compton, he was on Coach Jones's staff. Coach Escobar at Comanche was with Coach Jones. The coach at Alice, he was with Coach Jones and all of that. And, and he was a good mentor because he has a lot of successful other coaches out. And, and you ask people, I'm at almost everything. I mean, in the springtime, Region 1 stinks with the travel, but
Yeah.
I mean, I know my way around Abilene, everywhere else around West Texas to get to places to support our kids. But that was who mine was,
Coach, the UIL changes up a lot of things and stuff like that. And of course, what is one UIL rule that you would like to see changed? I'm not trying to, bash the UIL or no, we're not doing anything. Just something that you'd want to
it's
change.
the divisions, so football, I'm in Division 1 because of my enrollment. But every other sport is not. Well, if football can be split because of the, of enrollments, why not the other sports?
Right.
And I know why they're doing it, because they're saying, well, I'll play on a Friday night. It's easier for me to make a 2-hour trip than it is on a Tuesday night. But I don't think that's fair for other sports. I mean, if you're saying it's fair for football, well, I'm playing against someone who has 560 kids and I only got 350, and that ain't fair. Well, why is it fair for volleyball to do that? Why is it fair to baseball? If we're going to split divisions, let's split it. Let's do it for all sports, and that, I'll tell you, I got a friend that works with the UIL. I am 100% behind our UIL. I think they do a great job. That's the one thing I would change. And I know why they don't. It's because of Tuesday night travel.
Right.
Well, thanks, Cheryl. That was my next question. But thanks for having that. Appreciate that.
Well, you can steal mine.
What is the 2023 motto for the Blanco Panthers?
I'm not a big motto guy that changes it year to year. My biggest thing is show up to work every day and do your job. So I don't come up with a big one. I've talked to some people, and I think, Gunner uses it a lot. Tough people win, and it's not necessarily our motto. Mine coming in, and when I took this job, is I told the kids, we got to be all in. That's all I ask of you. Be all in this athletic program, and be all in. Be all in your classes, be all in life, and be all in athletics. Don't have one foot in and one foot out. Jump in and let's go. And that's kind of been our thing, is just all in. I don't change it year to year. The kids will tell you I just come to work and do your job. Not flashy or anything. Let's just go. Let's go to work and win. I don't try to come up with a motto every year or anything like that. I'd run out of ideas, honestly.
I hear a lot of coaches when they say, well, we just let the team kind of come up with one, and then it's like, well, maybe we better not do that at all.
Yeah, I'd be kind of scared at times.
Yeah, it's so funny, though, Coach. That's awesome, man. There's like a couple of them I want to steal from Trey, but I don't know if Go ahead and ask another one, because if you don't ask it, I'm going to ask it.
And today's definitely Monday. I'm drawing a blank. Anyway, I want to know, on Friday night, Friday morning, when you wake up, I know you're already pumped for the game, but what is your go-to music in your AirPods or your earphones, or what do you listen to get you ready for that day?
Country, man. I can listen to country. I love George Strait. So, the kids will laugh. The kids will tell you they're tired of country. I think that's all we listened to today at practice was country.
Yeah.
I'll come up in the morning and lift, and it'll probably be country music on the radio. But no, my favorite song is probably Hank Williams' "Country Boy Can Survive," and that song will probably be played 2 to 3 times on a Friday, whether it's in my truck coming up to school on a headphone or in my office.
Yeah.
Like right now in the back, I got Pandora going. It is favorited on every Pandora station I have.
Nice.
I mean, I think if I go to Kid Rock Radio, Hank Williams Jr. is favorited on Kid Rock Radio, and that will come up. But
well,
and then other than that, I'm a '90s kid. I love '90s rap.
Yeah,
I get the clean versions of some of them, but I like the Beastie Boys.
Oh, there we go.
And I've as odd as it may been, I mean, this little country boy's been to a Snoop Dogg concert.
Wow.
Nice.
And I like Snoop Dogg. I can't lie.
Yeah, that's awesome. Coach, kids that are wanting to play football, but they just, kind of got parents or something that may say, it might be a little bit injury prone and things like that. But in today's technology, what we were talking about, and the equipment that's made, I mean, what would you say to parents or to the kids that are thinking about playing? They really might want to play, but they're just afraid of getting injured during football.
I mean, you're going to get injured in everything. I mean, there's not a sport that's not injury. I mean, baseball right now, so many Tommy John surgeries, because of throwing nonstop. You go play soccer. Soccer has the most concussions and ACLs, I think, than any sport. Basketball, ligament injuries. I mean, and what I tell a kid is go play them all. I mean, I'm not saying one sport's go. And nowadays with the technology and the amount of money a helmet costs, I mean, and we do. Our district helps out with our budget and stuff, and we have some of the best helmets there are. I mean, half our kids have a helmet that Tom Brady wears with the Speed Flex, and the other half probably has a helmet that Patrick Mahomes wore. I mean, the safety of our equipment, we're always going to get the best equipment for our kids. One thing I got, talking about when I got here, our offensive line wears knee braces, and help them with pass protection and stability and things like that. I mean, you can get hurt. I can tell you, I've had a lot of surgeries. I have. Not one of them's because of football.
Yeah.
Well, I'll take that back. I've had one because of football. I mean, a lot of them had a stupid surgery from snow skiing.
Yeah.
We don't need to get into that discussion. I mean, I've had surgeries off of pickup basketball games, tore every ligament there was.
Yeah.
And so that's why I tell people, I think I've had 5 or 6 surgeries. One has come from the sport of football, and everything else has been from snow skiing to pickup basketball games to lifting weights surgery. I mean, football is just as safe as other sports are nowadays with the equipment.
You're right, because when I played ball, I didn't get hurt one time in football, but in basketball, I had more. I had a broken toe, concussion, all these other. Man, it's just weird how people can say, "Oh, football's it's more safe than anything with all the padding and the technology, like you said today." But I did have a question from Jesse. He wants to know, what school did you come from?
The previous school I was at before here, I was the head coach at Industrial. It's a 3A school, same size as Blanco, just north of Victoria. I was in Edna's district, and I had Edna, Goliad, Hallettsville, Yoakum, and those guys.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, when I first got the job, I think they gave it to me because no one else wanted it. So when I joked around with the guys that hired me, when I took the job, there was 3 teams in the top 10 in the state of Texas. I mean, it was a gauntlet. We just, like I said, our motto was every day we were going to win. It was win the day, and every day we had to get to work and let's go. That's where I was at before then. And before Industrial, I was at Giddings for 6 or 7 years.
So it's been how important has the community of Blanco been for you? And packing the house, on road trips, and especially painting the town. Because when you go through Blanco, I mean, you got Blanco flags, you got, go Panthers. I mean, yellow and gold, gold and blue everywhere. I mean, how big is that? And then not just for football, but for most of those sports, it's pretty packed houses.
No, the community sports awesome. We have a great booster club, and they buy a bunch of flags and they help put them all up. I told the parents when I got here, the parents don't bother me. Like our moms will call and text, can we come decorate a locker room? And they come and decorate it. They take the pictures, they go down the county courthouse to the square, put signs up for the kids. That's awesome. Yeah. I mean, sometimes I tell my moms, slow down a little bit. They go sometimes a little overboard. But I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, we're in this together, and I don't want to decorate a locker room. So it doesn't bother me that the parents do, and things like that. I mean, it's just something I don't have to do now. And then I thought it was cool the other night. I was leaving, and after one of our varsity games, and our courthouse was lit up gold and blue.
Oh, nice.
And I sat at that red light, and I didn't know it turned green, and the cars are honking behind me to go. And I was trying to take a picture of our courthouse because I was like, that is awesome.
Yeah.
And I'm just getting getting honked on in the back. And I mean, I missed the whole green light. Yeah. They were probably mad at me and everything. I missed and it turned red. And because I just sat there and I was like, this is awesome, and that's what you get at these towns like this. And, and the kids love it. It's good for the boys, and it's good for our girls. Our volleyball parents come up and they decorate, and there's nothing wrong with that. And I want this town painted blue and gold.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd be mad and if it wasn't painted blue and gold.
Yeah. We got time for 2 more questions, Trey.
Trying to think of where to go with this. Should I be funny or not?
You should be.
Okay, I just want to know, because it was a big debate in our house with my grandparents and everything like that. Mustard or ketchup on a hot dog? That's what I want to know.
Oh, hey, man, come on, man.
Hot dog? Mustard.
Oh!
Look, nobody eats ketchup on a hot dog.
Everybody in the world eats ketchup on a hot dog.
If my wife is listening, she will tell you I eat ketchup on everything, not a hot dog. Do you eat ketchup on fried eggs?
Yes.
So do I. She hates it.
I eat ketchup with anything. I'm Patrick Mahomes of Hill Country. I can eat ketchup on anything.
I am a ketchup man. She'll make roast and I'll put ketchup on it. She tells me I'm ruining it. The only thing I don't eat ketchup on is a hot dog and steak. I will not ruin a steak like that.
Thank you.
If you eat a steak with ketchup, ooh,
yeah,
she won't be at my table.
That means there's something wrong with that steak.
Because I'm not allowed in Blanco at your
But I'd rather eat a hamburger than a hot dog any day.
Any day. Absolutely. All right, Coach. One last question, and we appreciate you being on our show tonight. Thank you for filling in last minute. We really appreciate that. What makes Coach Jaime Dixon Coach Jaime Dixon?
Oh, man. I don't know. I want to be good. I want to win, but I want to do it the right way. And that's that thing, I guess the question earlier, who was your mentor or who was your role model, was my parents. And I tell the kids this, my last name means everything, because it's a representation of my parents, and I want that last name to be a winner. And I wanted to do it the right way because I want to make my parents proud, and that's something I guess I tell the kids, before we take the field is, I tell them, I love you. These coaches love you. Go play for your family. Go play for these boys beside you. Play for your teammates. Play for us as coaches, and we're going to do our best to win. And I think when you do that, you represent yourself and your parents the right way. And, and that's huge. I mean, I would like to go down as someone who did things the right way and was successful. And the biggest thing a kid could ever do is just tell me thank you for being a role model to them, I think it's awesome when my wife and I get invitations to their weddings and stuff.
Oh, wow.
And they get married and things like that, because it just tells you as a coach you meant something to that person and you taught them something, important in life. And I think if you do that, the wins will come. And if you don't focus on the wins, but you focus on doing things the right way, things are going to fall apart. And that's what you got to do as a coach. Take care of the small things, care about your kids, coach them hard, but love them harder, and everything else will fall in place.
That's awesome, Coach. Man, thank you so much for filling in today, and thank you for being on our show earlier than normal.
I appreciate it.
We're going to try to get you on a Wednesday, and then it's like, I'll do it tonight. That's all good. We appreciate that so much, Joe.
Nah, I appreciate it. I'm glad I was able to help you guys out.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
All right. Well, we look forward to seeing you sometime real soon. And there is a question I wanted to ask you, but I'm going to ask it off there. So if you can just hang out for just a
Okay.
bit more, man, it'd be awesome.
Yes, sir.
All right. Cool, man. Well, that is going to do it for yet another episode of the Hill Country Sports Wrap-Up here on Monday evening. Tomorrow, I believe we've got Coach Jared Taylor of the Ozona Lions, and then we've got another surprise for you on Wednesday as well. So, until then, cooler weather is coming, I promise you. So, with that, God bless you, and we are out of here.